week we had a bit of a blank spot there because I was really sick. So if I start coughing, forgive me. I'm really going to try hard. I've probably slurped down about a gallon of honey. So let's see if it works. But tonight I have with me Bernadette O'Connor. Now, Bernadette is a kinesiologist. Now, a lot of you wouldn't even know what that was. I mean, I only know because I've actually gone to a kinesiologist. So I guess, Bernadette, the first question is, can you explain to us what a kinesiologist does?
I'd love to. And thank you for having me on the couch. So, look, a kinesiologist is where it's a natural therapy and it works with the energy of the body. So we've got energy within us and we've got energy all around us. And as a kinesiologist, I test muscles on the physical body to determine where there's blocks in energy flow. So our blocks in energy can come from emotions, they can come from foods that we eat, from toxins in the environment, relationships with people, traumatic events that we've experienced. Just walking into a space can create a block in energy flow. So as a kinesiologist, I work with a client to align them to a particular goal. And to do that, we have to clear the blocks away in the energy so that the energy can flow. Now, our energy and our vibrations can get stuck in our cells of the physical body. So when we have experiences, the memory of those experiences can become embedded in our cells. And that's why we keep rehashing and experiencing the emotion attached to memories so intensely sometimes because the vibration still exists within those cells. And so when I'm working with somebody, really my intention is to balance out those energies. And the style of kinesiology that I do, I work with emotions mostly and belief patterns and programs. So I like to see we get into memories, we identify the emotions around them, and then we release those emotions and we put a beautiful harmony within the cells of the body. And so the body starts to innately heal itself, because when we've got harmonious vibrations, the body does what it's designed to do, which is to heal. When we've got disharmonious or dis-ease in our cells, we can't function optimally. So when we harmonise that, the body starts healing itself, we start moving forward in life, we get that flow back.
So based on the show that I have and the people that I would interview, for them, a session with you, or I mean, they'd have to have numerous sessions, would they not? Like to work through something that's so intense like that?
Look, the short answer to that is no. So I've worked with hundreds of people who have had traumatic experiences across the spectrum, But sometimes it can be one really powerful session that is life-changing, because it gets into, you don't need to go through every experience. You can get into and the way I like to work, I go in deep, I dig in deep really, really early in the piece. So if you find the root of the problem and you work up, other bits and pieces get taken care of. So sometimes it can be one really powerful session that just gets the shift happening. And then there's other things that people will be doing that then can start to have a really profound effect. Other times it might be somebody might come and they might have, it might be, and I have worked with a lot of people who have experienced abuse as children, and they get to 40 or 50 and they're finally ready to
talk about it,
reclaim their life. And that first step is so powerful. So that first session might be really intense, and the way I work, it's not the type of thing where it's like, okay, come back next week and we'll give it another go. It's so deep and so powerful that it might be 3 to 4 months before they come back for another session, so that those changes kind of can settle in and they can start to learn or experience the new version of themselves.
Because I guess, someone that's been through a certain situation such as child abuse at an early age, and they've reached their 50s now and they're, living through that, it does take a lifetime sometimes to actually be able to talk about it to a stranger, and I mean, that can be very, very hard.
Oh, incredibly.
So I mean, you could sort of plan on coming here and then have just a total block because...
Oh, and look, and I guess what I just got when you're saying that, I would certainly hate for anybody to think that, oh, you can just come and get over it with one session. It's certainly not like that at all. And I honour every person who comes in and trusts me and shares me with that experience. Like the amount of people who have sat from across from me and said, I have never said this to anybody in my life. I can feel it. It's, I'm so honoured that they're trusting in me, and I know how huge that is to take that step. It takes so much courage, and it might take 40 years to find that courage, but I get so passionate and excited about it because what I see, and that's why I said it's people reclaiming their life. So whatever, in an abuse case, somebody stole something from them.
That's right.
At a very young age. And the shock within the energy system can last for decades. But when we release that shock and we start to release the trauma associated with those memories, then that person starts to reclaim their life. They start to reclaim their power and they can start to move on. And I love nothing more than looking, when I'm working with somebody and looking in their eyes and seeing that come back. Not the fight of I'm struggling with the world and I'm fighting with the world, but just this, exactly, that spirit come back and I'm like, I know you've got this. And you know, when you've been disempowered, to reclaim your power and to know that it is possible, that's life-changing.
Well, I guess too, like, what do you do for self-care? Because, you know, I know that, you know, as an interviewer, I take on a lot because it's hard not to feel the pain, you know, when you, like the heartfelt stuff.
Yep.
You know, it's very hard for me not to actually take it on board because I do feel what they feel, you know. And so what do you do for self-care?
So many people ask me that. They say, oh my gosh. And so many people apologise when they're like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, I don't take it on. So when I'm working with somebody and I'm sharing your energy, I will feel it. And I often will feel it more intensely on an energetic level than the client. So if there's massive trauma around the heart space, I will often like kind of feel it, and I'll start massaging my heart and they'll be like, you all right? And I'm like, yeah, we've just got some energy in there. Or when I feel that surge of emotion coming through, I will often well up. And I know that that's just me being totally in truth. And I'm feeling that energy. But I have aligned myself, trained myself, programmed myself energetically that when I release you, what's yours is yours and what's mine is mine. So, you know, early on when I was working with people, I probably wasn't as aware of my boundaries, but I've just programmed myself that it's your experience. I will hold this space for you. I will walk with you, but it doesn't serve me nor you for me to carry you after the event because we all have to walk, we all have to own it and take those steps. And, you know, my philosophy is I want to empower my clients. I don't want to carry it for them. I don't want to heal it within me so that they feel lighter. When they walk out from my treatment room and they walk on their path, it's them in there energetically.
So you would recommend, and I don't mean for this to be a silly question at all, but you would recommend this sort of treatment for any sort of trauma?
Absolutely.
You know, like it's just an alternative way of looking at perhaps, you know, helping you fix things up and live life and, you know, to be empowered to live life the way you want it to be. And
it can be, I mean, I work with people across, you know, a range of things. It's not just trauma. I work with people in business who are, you know, blocked in success, and I work with people with money blocks. So it's just about clearing energy and removing blocks. I've always had the philosophy, and my background's actually as an exercise physiologist. So I worked with people, I was going to say since I was a kid, it felt like I was a kid. Felt like, you know, out of uni.
You still look like a kid.
And out of uni, but like, you know, as a 22-year-old, I was working with people who were injured at work and had back injuries and shoulder injuries and the psychological trauma of that. And I kind of wish I had the skills that I have now to help those people, but I was working from the purely physical perspective. So you can work across any trauma, because it's basically clearing the blocks associated with trauma.
And another little question I'm going to ask. I know you've got children. Do you actually do kinesiology on your children?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
So
how cool would that be?
Oh, it's amazing. So I started studying kinesiology 2012. And so my youngest was 9 months old when I started studying. And they're now 10, 8 and 7. So they've grown up, I suppose, with me aligning their energy and just helping them. I don't work with them that much anymore because they're actually really grounded, solid, energetic beings. They'll still have wobbles, and when they're wobbling, I will kind of go, do you need a little treatment? And we'll just clear things off. But I've worked with 3-week-old babies. So
wow.
Your face just... And from a trauma perspective, the birthing experience can be traumatic for child as much as mother. So how I work with, in that case, I will muscle test on the mother with the baby lying on them. So there is a lot of trauma associated with birth. There's a lot of trauma. Even I've had to clear this in so many adults. The trauma of being disconnected from mother energy through that, cutting of the umbilical cord, and so many children, again, that I've worked with who have anxiety issues and separation issues when they're going off to school, it stems from that birth where they've been so beautifully content and safe and connected, and then they're out there in a completely different energy and separated from that security and the safety of all they know. And then when that happens again when they're at school, when they go off to school, all those memories get activated. And so when I'm working with kids like that, I will say, look, now buddy, when you're 18 or something and you want to go to Melbourne University or you want to go and live in Canada, you've got to be able to do it without being connected to mama. And so we balance that out. And I've had fundamental shifts in relationships because when you change that sort of a connection, you just bring it into harmony.
What about addictions? You work with people with addictions?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, look, you can, from an energy perspective, you can work with anything. And that's, I don't want it to sound like, it's a come and, fix anything. And the way I work, is on an emotional level and it is on like a belief program. So limiting belief and sabotages. And if we talk about addiction, they are so tied to belief programs that we may have absorbed from group consciousness, we may have absorbed them from our parents in our childhood, or we may actually be carrying our ancestors' belief programs around certain things. And so in terms of addiction, I worked with somebody today and I'm trying to remember the belief program, but I actually said to her after the event, after we cleared it, I'm like, gosh, that's really powerful in terms of like, for somebody who has a drug addiction, and the belief was, something around I've been in it too long to be free from it. And we weren't working on addiction with her, it was, her ill health. And I looked at her, and so we were changing that belief because it was embedded within her system, the energy of the thought process on a subconscious level. I have been in it too long to be free from it. So every time that person then goes, okay, I'm going to take myself, get off the cigarettes or sign up to AA or whatever modality they're using to try and overcome addiction, if you've got a sabotage program like that, a belief in your system, you go off on this path and you're going, I'm doing the right thing, I know I'm overcoming this, but you've got a subconscious belief here that is dictating your behaviour. And if that belief is, I can't do it because I've been in it too long, so I can't be free from it, you're on your way, and then that kicks up. And then next thing you're over here and you don't even know why. But that subconscious belief is dictating your behaviour, because our subconscious is so powerful. And so what we do is we work at reprogramming. So we use acupressure points, we use neural stress, like put stress in the neurology, and then we use neuro-linguistic programming techniques to reprogram the vibration of the thought, which would be, even though I've been in it so long, I am free from it.
So can someone come to you that has multiple things going on? Or is it something
We've all got multiple things.
Unfortunately, we have, most of us. But, I just thought, do you kind of look at one particular...
Yeah, absolutely.
And then go with that? Or if they've got all different things that they want to have help with, do you look at all of those in that appointment, or do you only look at one?
So, when I'm working with somebody, we establish a goal or maybe 2 goals for the session. So it might be like a statement that I am at peace in my relationship with my husband.
Wow.
Which I am.
It's a biggie.
But I know somebody out there needs that if that's come through. So we might be going, okay, we're going to work on that. Because as I say to people, if I have an energy body lying in front of me and I'm just going, okay, I'm going to clear away blocks, we'd be there forever.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we've got blocks around everything. When we set a goal and I set it up within the energy body, what we're saying to the energy body is, show us what is blocking this person from being in alignment with this. And so it almost like sets the scope. So then it's like, well, what is stopping you from being in peace and harmony with your husband? And so those things show up. When somebody comes and if I get their history and they'll explain, and most people, we've all got stuff. And from our childhood, from relationships, from all those different things. But we'll talk, and I'm very intuitive, and I get kind of the feel. And honestly, from so much experience, I can say that, and I suppose it's one of my gifts, I can look at the different experiences that have been had by that person, and I start to see a pattern. And so...
Do you get that one, like if you're out? Like just say... No. I was just saying,
No,
if you're at the shopping centre and there's someone standing in front of you and you're waiting to be served, you're standing there, hang on a minute, I'm really picking up on stuff here.
I don't do that. I, again, program myself that I'm on when I'm on, and I'm off when I'm off.
It's a work process.
I don't want to... It's, I'm highly intuitively and could walk down the street and get that. I don't want to walk into my kid's schoolyard and know everybody's everything. I choose not to. People, when they land in my space, they're meant to work with me, and I'm meant to work with them. There was a time when I
Excuse me, everyone.
first started kinesiology. I remember sitting and I was studying, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so powerful. I can help people. I remember sitting by the pool, and my kids are doing swimming lessons, and this lady was talking to me, and she's like saying about her relationship
Can you
and
say
this.
anything? Can you
No,
say
she didn't even know. She was a stranger. But she was like telling me all about, her problem with her husband and this and that. And I was like, this very enthusiastic. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can help. And I'm like, I'm a kinesiologist. I can help you. And I wanted to save the world and save everyone. And I learned very early on, people find me when they're supposed to find me. Otherwise, that's not my place. It's not my place, because I might go, you need help. You might not be ready for help.
It's like a plumber, I mean, he doesn't want to go to the party, and then suddenly the host says, oh, look, I've got this leaking tap out the back. Can you run out and fix it for me, please? Yeah, I can understand that totally, but I know that a lot of people kind of, when you're at parties and things like that, when they know what you do, they'll be, can you do that?
Yeah, I've had,
or just 5 minutes?
Yeah,
or,
I've had people, a mum from school, she said to me the other week at netball training, she's like, oh, what's wrong with me? You read energy and stuff, like what's going on? I'm like, hun, I'm not on at the moment.
Yeah, come to my rooms.
But the other thing, in terms of that is, it's not for me to decide when somebody's ready.
Yes.
Like I've had a lot of clients will, sit there and I'll say, oh, so, who's referred you or how have you ended up here? And they'll say, oh, I've known about you for about 3 years and I've just been waiting for the time, and it's time now. And I feel that emotion coming through again, because I go, it is time now.
Yeah, because I can imagine people going through that and they're not ready.
They're not ready.
Like, just, I know just from the interviews that I do that some people are not ready right at the beginning when I first started, but now they're ready. You know, so, or give me 6 months and I'll get back to you, because other stuff's happening in their world too.
Yeah.
And they're dealing with the trauma that they're facing.
Absolutely.
So from there, you've obviously got a lot of clients that you work with, and from there we're just going to talk about another little facet of you, and that is this book, Let's Go Home. Now, I hope everyone can see that. I'll take a screenshot anyway and put it in the comments. So, is this based on clients that you've seen?
No.
Well,
not
where did it come
specifically.
from?
So just, I mean, as a kinesiologist, I think, and when I said, I've written a book, everyone out there kind of had the presumption that it would be a traditional self-help book in that, here's your issue, here's your solution, here's some activities to do. I find that really hard to write in that way. I feel quite lazy when I say that, but it's just not my thing. But so Let's Go Home is a fictional story, and I love that I've been given the opportunity to write story as a way of helping people to heal, because everyone likes to read a story, and woven into the story of the central character Halia is a really strong healing theme, a really strong coming home, finding self, without it being,
So when you say coming home, is it coming home to self?
Absolutely. Finding truth. And look, at the end of the day, that is what I'm doing with every person I work with one-on-one, every person I engage with through social media or at workshops or through a book, is to help them unravel the stuff.
Yeah.
Think of like a big strand of wool, and it's like unraveling, because in there, she exists or he exists, who you really are. Now, there might be a shish load of stuff that's blocking, and you can't remember her, but she's in there. And, in Let's Go Home, Halia, the character, she's got some stuff. She's had childhood stuff, she's had loss, she's had love, she's had addiction. She's had addiction, she's had feelings of inadequacy and self-worth and suicide, and
a lot of people could relate to her.
And that's why I love that, and I really feel like I was gifted with this book, because it wrote itself, basically. I just had to sit there listening to music and type it. It's because, your audience, and there's a lot of people out there, they're not necessarily going to go to the self-help section of the bookstore. But this book, it's like, I can relate to that. And it might trigger. I've had a lot of people say it was really confronting to read. One beautiful client sent me a really long message saying, I hated your book. But I loved it. It was the most confronting thing I've ever had to read. It challenged me on every level. I didn't want to read it, but it is the most powerful book I've read, and I'm so grateful. So within the story, people can relate, and it's going to trigger. There's energy within it that's going to activate things in you that are going to stir them up and make you feel uncomfortable. But that's okay, because it's actually part of the releasing. And she does, her unraveling in the pursuit of finding herself and the essence of home within herself, living a life from a place of joy. And it's a simple story, but one that so many people can relate to, and it's actually really beautiful.
That is a beautiful story.
Challenging, but it's beautiful.
I think, it's very, like you said, very confrontational. So in some aspects. If you have lived that life yourself, I can imagine that. And I think too, having someone read it could possibly spark them to go and get some sort of help.
Yeah.
Which is really a wonderful thing, I think.
Because, the middle section of the book is Halia's, her unraveling. And so there's a lot of her work is in there. So you see what she's doing, that, she's doing journaling, she's doing meditation, she's doing forgiveness work. She's angry in it. She wants to fight it, she wants to run from it, but she stays in it, and she keeps unraveling and doing the journey. And so is this based on any one client? Absolutely not. But it's based on everyone
How did you get the inkling to write it? Like, what was the first
What was
step?
the inkling?
Yeah.
First step probably was when I was a child, and I've always been a writer. But at the beginning of 2016, I went, I feel like it's time, it's coming, so I just put it out to the universe, and I actually used the words to my first book come to me. And so I just kind of, played with that whole law of attraction thing.
Yes.
And then one Saturday morning, actually it was the day before that, I kind of got up and I heard, or kind of, got this information, just start writing. And I've always written by hand. And I went to my laptop and I started typing. And what I was typing was, you're going to write, but it's not going to be the same way that you've always written, so get out of the way, basically. Because I write, quite flowy, quite beautifully, very soft and lovely. Anyway, the next morning, I stood up out of bed and I got hit with this stream of information, which was the whole story. Now, I didn't know the ins and outs, but I got the beginning clearly, I got the end, I got the essence of all of it. And the first couple of chapters, they're not like how I write. As my mum said, there's an F word on the first page. There's, it's pretty raw.
But I think it's meant to be like that.
And that's the thing, like, when I was, writing, because it was typed, and I just would listen to some music, get up while the kids were still sleeping, between 5 and 7. It only took me a couple of months, and I'd just type it out and then walk away. But, there were mornings there where I would be, people might think I'm slightly strange, I would be bawling. I would be so in it with her that I would be sobbing. And I'm like, and I didn't actually, I knew the essence of the book, and but I didn't know some of the twists and the turns, and I'm like, there's one little section where she sort of goes off path in the middle of her healing journey, which does happen, people. We kind of go, you know what, this is all too much, I'm just going to go and have a little fling over here. And I'm writing this, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's having a fling with an Aussie surfer. What's going on? You're meant to be doing your meditation.
If it's coming.
And that's the thing, and it was coming through to me, so, but it was a real true reflection of what people are doing when they're healing. It's like, I'm in it, oh, this is too intense, I'm bored with it, I just want a distraction. And I think that chapter's actually called A Welcome Distraction. Because that's part of the journey as well.
And when you finished it, like when you would have known you'd come to the end.
Yeah.
Did you just go like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, where did that come from?
Yeah. And I remember, because I knew the ending really clearly from right at the beginning, and I'd had that scene, I'd visualised it, I'd seen it played over. So when I actually wrote it that day, I remember that morning, and I was like, oh my gosh, I finally get to write this bit. And
did you read it? Like, did you just sit down when you finished? Did you just sit down and go, "What I want to read"?
It was just like this schmozzle of like 30 different chapters, and then I had to get them in order. I'm like, what do I do with it now? And it's like, oh, I need to find an editor, and then the whole process happened. So it was a beautiful experience, actually.
And would you do it again?
Yeah, I am doing it again. So
so you're going to tell us?
Yeah.
What's the next one?
It's called Beneath the Veil. It's a working title at the moment. It's pretty intense. This feels soft compared to the rawness. So it's Ireland, it's religion, it's abuse, it's suppression of the feminine.
Pretty hardcore.
It is. At the moment I'm writing 1 day a week. So on a Tuesday, that's my writing day, and the way that it's come is I just need to give it that and then walk away from it, because it is very intense energy. Like when I'm writing some of these scenes in a farm with abuse taking place from a sibling, it's horrible. But again, I know that there are people who are going to read that and it's going to free them.
Yes,
it's their stories getting told.
And that's what like tonight's interview for me was all about. It was not that you've actually lived through adversity yourself, but through your writings you talk about it, and in the hope that you will free others reading it. So, like, get this book and, just really hang out for the next one too. So I've been told I've got to hold it up a bit more, and we'll take a screenshot and put in the comments section for everyone to have a look at. So where can people actually buy this, or where can they get it from?
Yep. So people can get it direct through me, and we can put a link to my website for a hard copy. Hard copies are also available in any bookstore, so they can order it through, because we've got a distribution network. Amazon, Booktopia, Barnes & Noble, any of those, and ebook on any of those as well.
Oh,
so
great.
And, you know...
You've really done your homework.
Well, it's been done, so it's available out there all over the world. So I've got people in all little fragments of the world reading it and sending me back information.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's just awesome. And congratulations. But
Thank you.
At the end of my shows, I normally ask the people that I've interviewed to give like a heartfelt message of hope. So
I feel that emotion just coming through.
Yeah, you feel it?
I do.
Yeah, so having, you know, the people that come in and see you and their traumas and what they've lived through, and, you know, and I'm sure that they've said to you certain things that you've, you know, maybe hung on to and thought, wow, what an amazing thing to say. Or so if there's someone at home right now and they're watching this show and, you know, maybe they haven't had it in themselves to get up and go and seek help or talk about it to someone, what would be that, or your message of hope that you would give them? So you can just look down the camera for us and just give us a little message of hope.
So my message for you guys is, I know your story because I've been through it with so many people, and the story that you're in now, own it, and then find the courage to step up and write that next chapter, to reclaim your life and almost like rip up that old story. But first of all, you have to own it, and I think that's the toughest bit. That's probably why you've stayed stuck for so long, is you don't want to own it, you want to suppress it, you want to hide from it. But once you own your story, you're then empowered to change that story and to reclaim your life and to write what the next version of your life is going to do. My tip, make sure you've got amazing support people around you. If a modality isn't working for you, change that modality. You know, keep looking for the thing that's going to pull you through to the other side, and I know it's possible. Okay, and that's the thing. It's possible to write a new story. It's possible to change. It happens, and I believe in you. Like, that is. I look at every one of my clients when they sit opposite me, and I believe in them and their capacity to change, because I know the power of energy, and I know the power of the human spirit. Yeah, and we can overcome those adversities.
And seek a kinesiologist if that's what you think that might work for you. At least try it once. You know, make that connection with someone and try it. Ask around. Ask friends of yours that have been to a kinesiologist.
And it might be kinesiology. It might not be kinesiology. But I'm such a believer, if the modality that you're in isn't working for you, but you've been doing it for 5 years. Please change.
Or all your life, you know.
Or all your life.
Or nothing at all. Like if
because
you haven't done
there's a
anything
lot
at all.
of things that can hold us in a place, but we're holding in that place. And it's like, life is not for a holding pattern. Life is for thriving. And so go, okay, I'm going to find the courage to mix this up and find that thing that's going to break me out of my holding pattern and get me thriving in life.
Yeah, so from survivor to thriver. That's where everyone wants to be. You know, a beautiful message there. And I'd like to thank some of the beautiful people that, you know, tune in every single week and really support what I'm doing. And thank you so much for this, because it really does mean a lot to me. You know, it means that, well, next month I'm off to all around Queensland. I'll be bringing you shows from everywhere about Queensland. So we're on the road for our trip, and we'll be doing some great stories there. One particular one is, her father was a gangster in the Cross. So, yeah, I know, and just the sad stuff. She's been kidnapped. There's been so much stuff happen to her. And you know what? She's such an amazing, vibrant person. So, you know, look out for that one. So I'll be bringing you that from Queensland. So right now I want to say thank you to the beautiful people that support me, like I said. So we've got Shireen Lowe, Larry Lowe, Sylvia Lang. Thank you, Sylvia. Now, Sylvia's been on a couple of weeks ago with her story, and it's a series that we've started. So stay tuned for part 3 on that, because it's quite an amazing story for those of you that have listened in, and hopefully there'll be a really happy ending. So I've got a new producer tonight, and she writes a lot smaller than Tiana, knowing how bad my eyesight. Oh, here we go. That's better. Thanks, Bernadette. We've got Andrea Martin. Thank you, Andrea. Your boys are absolutely gorgeous. I follow you on Facebook and I see just how gorgeous they are. We've got Kim Price. Thank you, Kim. Kim actually came up to me a couple of weeks ago and introduced herself to me and thanked me for the show. So, you know what? Thank you so much, Kim, for, your support and just coming in every week and having a listen. And thanks for coming up and saying hi. And everyone out there, if you see us driving around in the car and you'll see the magnet on the side of the car with On the Couch with Kelly, we want you to toot. I've had some amazing little trips around the city and that, where I've actually been driving around and next minute toot, 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 toot. It's like, wow, it just makes you feel good. Yeah. Makes you know that you're doing the right thing, and I know in my heart I'm doing the right thing. So we've got Kath Smith. Thank you, Kath. You're one of my supporters also. Michelle Wilcox. Thank you, Michelle. Debbie O'Donoghue. Thank you so much, Debbie. Kylie Quinn. Stephen Blythe. Well, thanks, Stephen, for tuning in. And just for all of you to know too, that each and every week at 7:30 we go live on here, and then it goes across to the website, and we've got our YouTube channel. So if you look up, or you want to send anyone to their website, it's www.onthecouchwithkelly, and it's KELLIE.com. So that's www.onthecouchwithkelly.com, or on Facebook, On the Couch with Kelly on Facebook, and on our YouTube channel, On the Couch with Kelly. Yeah, so, well, so much, isn't it? Blah, blah, blah. So, Stephen Blythe, Georgina Harry, thank you so much. And Kerry Franks, thank you. And we've got over there Kate Clulo, thank you, Kate. Mick Galvin, Joanne Haskew, Donna Field, Dave JVR, Amber Jane Sterling says toot toot. Oh, thank you, Amber. All right, so thank you, everyone. And, no matter what in life, I say this each and every week. And, I've been through a series of things in my life too, and I've learnt that never give up. No matter what, be a thriver. You've survived it, just thrive it. So, no matter what, don't give up. And I'll see you next week. And know that you're okay. Thank you, everyone. Bye for now. Thanks, Bernadette.
Bye, guys.